Today I'm going to be teaching you all how to grow potatoes at home. Have you ever bought a bag or knapsack of potatoes and forgot about them completely until you stumbled across them cleaning your kitchen one day and come to find out that they have evolved? Your potatoes have evolved and now have millions on millions of little eyes that are staring right back at you. If this sounds familiar, then have no fear. There is a way to be resourceful about the situation and use the food scraps to the best of your ability to actually begin the process of growing your own potato plants. Certainly you will notice the new sprouts that are growing all over your potatoes that kind of resemble eyeballs. Did you know you can still make an infinite use from these quote-unquote rotten potatoes? Yes, you can actually. We can use them to begin the process of photosynthesis in your garden that will start your new potato plants. Whether you have an in-ground garden, a raised garden bed, or you plan to grow inside of pots, I highly recommend that you go check out my soil video on YouTube before you watch anything else. So either pause here and come back, or continue with the first step to homegrown potatoes. The very first step to growing homegrown potatoes is to locate your old forgotten sack of potatoes from the last trip to the grocery store. Or basically get your hands on some potatoes that have evolved into multiple spuds or sprouts that will be growing on the sides of your rotting potatoes. You're going to want to try to remove as Step 2. Giving it some time, a couple of days now, after coming and going back and forth, checking on the germination process each day and adding water whenever necessary. Let's see here, it's been about a week of sitting underneath the sun and the moon. The very next step is to open up your baggie and check on your little wads of paper towels in which you placed multiple seeds in each. Open up the bag and take out one of the paper towel wads. You will only need one because if that one is done, so is the rest, and if it is not done, then neither will the rest be either. Once you have checked on your seeds by opening the paper towel, you may want to grab your readers if you struggle to see like myself. But take a moment to analyze your pieces after they have been sitting outside for the last week or so, or 7+ days. Examining your potato pieces, looking for little string-like structures coming out of either end or any part of your potato piece. Once you're through overlooking them all, and if you have decided rather they need more time underneath the sun, all you have to do is simply add some more water to the bag and leave outside again for a few more days and continue to check in on them periodically. If you have clearly decided that your potato pieces have grown full structure sprouts from those same quote-unquote eyeball-looking potato spuds, if you decided that they have fully grown enough to root and to move to the next step of vegetation, then be my guest, because the next step is step number 3. Step 3. After you have decided to either leave them longer or to rest satisfied with the growth you currently see on your potato pieces, then it's time for step number 3. If you are already ready to go ahead and take the steps to grow your planter's bench while we wait on the rest of the class. I will save step number 4 to begin the vegetation process by planting the germinated potato pieces in the ground and through your Start by disturbing the soil and digging yourself a little trench, maybe a ½ inch deep in depth, and you can make the rows as long as your little heart desires. You will want to begin by placing one potato piece for each planter's place in your garden or your planting pots. Begin by placing your potato pieces in the desired spots and place them with the spud or eyes facing upward straight up to the sky. Keep them about 6 to 8 inches apart in your rows. Leave at least 7 to 8 inches of space between each plant. Then you will want to begin brushing soil on top of the germinated pieces until they are fully covered. Remember, selecting the location you are planning to grow these germinated potato pieces that it's very important to keep the eyes or the spuds facing upwards if possible. If there is one spud in particular that has grown a sprout that is assumably stronger than the others, considering that we were trying to keep at least 2 to 3 spuds prior to germination on each potato piece, so the one that grew the strongest the most out of the 3 to 4 eyes that you kept on the potato flesh, the one that is the strongest, make sure that one is the one that is going to emerge first out of the soil. If there is one spud that has grown a sprout that is assumably stronger than the others, then that should be the main character in this story, metaphorically speaking. Keep your sprouts and their leaves maybe 4 centimeters deep into the soil. Keep the tips pointed up and barely buried under the soil, allowing some of this point to break through the soil easily and as it should. After you have all your planter pots, starter pots, or whether you just threw them outside into your garden somewhere, it is important to make frequent, if not daily, visits to said garden to visit and nurture your plants. Do not forget to water them as well. Thank me later. Enjoy a few clips I have collected and updated vlogging on how this process started to go for me. A couple of the clips in start off 3 days after I had planted them in their starter pots, and then it goes all the way until 2 months into it, until it is time that I take them out of their starter pots and I actually put them in my garden. Here you will see me do that now. And also a little old wives' tale tip as far as growing potatoes. If you get them growing late in the season, or you are at risk of doing so, because you never really know, make sure that you go out in the middle of the night whenever the sun has been set for some time now and things have cooled off. That's the perfect time when you want to plant your potatoes. As you can see, that is exactly the time that I went out and planted my potato plants. But, fun fact, I did not even know this little helpful trick of advice or whatever until someone actually told me that that was how you were supposed to plant potatoes, or the perfect time of day, considering how late you are into the season, that it is best to plant them at night. So some of these things will come up as natural instinct. And don't be surprised when they do. Enjoy a few clips I have collected and updated vlogging on how this process started to go. Then make sure you subscribe so that you are notified of an entire series on part 2 videos that will follow each video that I post this summer 2022. So come up around harvest time this year of 2022, maybe early October. This is where I will take you all along with me for the second half of all that we are learning here on my channel together. This is not my very first garden by no means. This is just my very first garden in this new location. The hardiness scale of where I am located is specifically the 7A zone. Unless I specifically state otherwise in any of my content involving outdoors, that is where I am in comparison to the hardiness scale. I am in 7 Zone A. But Emily Outdoors is not only just going to be about gardening. We're going to learn all kinds of things together, and I'm going to show you what I do on a daily basis and how I keep my home fires burning.